perception on what has happened this morning. It's a video that has gone viral. Cecilia Marfo snatching microphone from Joyce Blessing and telling her to go back to her husband. And a public gathering.
For me, this is my opinion. God asked Nathan to go to David's house and to speak to him of his mind. If God is speaking to you about what somebody should do, I feel where you are standing in public, you should have done it in a private way. What happened for me, I am not happy about it. And I always say this, there are so many ways of communicating to somebody, especially when God has ministered to you, to talk to someone. And I feel this needs to be corrected, and next time maybe it shouldn't happen that way.
Are you likely to reach out to Joyce or something? Because I think at this point she's gone through a lot.
For me, I talk to her every day, and I pray with her too. She's not the only one. There are a lot of people going through the same thing, and I side with her, and I believe that God is the only one that can heal. People will talk to you, people will say their part, but when some of the things you leave it in the hands of God, you'll be fine. And I believe that she shouldn't even wonder so much about this. She should pray and ask God, God, this is what your daughter is saying. What are you also? I really need to hear from you to confirm, because when a prophet speaks, you need a confirmation. And that is me. It is not only gospel musician. It cuts across where you see a public figure, and it shouldn't be that you want to use the person to get popularity. But I feel this is a wake-up call for some of that God has called us, and we hear his voice, and we want to talk to somebody about what God is saying. Sometimes we don't have to do it so much in public. You can call them, and it will be wonderful calling them privately and praying with them. That helps a lot than standing in this large congregation and talking about it. It's sad. Sometimes it brings people's spirits down.
The final thing I ask you, do you think that Cecilia Manfo needs to be talked to? You know, this is the second we are seeing. The first one was with Brother Sami, now Joyce Blessing. You think that she needs some conversation with people like you or people in the industry?
The Christian body, yeah.
Because you see, it becomes very, very difficult when the person is standing using the name of God to speak. I want to tell the BIA thing say you tell somebody to learn advice, but I feel we get people to get close to her and to talk to her. Maybe it will help.
Akwaboah, you have also been through the terrain. Prophecy. This is another prophecy that has come through. Are you comfortable with the manner in which it came through?
So like you said, I've been in the last year, mine came out, and then there was this prophecy. I think it was all over the news, social media, everywhere. I wasn't, in fact, happy about it because I felt the person should have or could have called me, and we could have had a conversation, and we would have prayed about it. So as a public figure, and as a celebrity, that's what God has brought up. You can't just stand in the midst of people and then, yes, you've seen it. Yes, God has told you. But what you do is now, you get my point, as to how you go about it. So I sincerely think that probably, I'm only saying that after everything that Slemafu saw, or said God had told her, she could have called Joyce and spoken to her that whilst I was doing this or doing that, God said this and that and that. Said, but yeah, and then like Ohemaa said, prayed with her. That would have done a lot of good than just public figure standing in the whole congregation and then saying it.
Do you believe, and I want to be specific, do you believe Cecilia Manfo? Do you believe that truly God speaks to her in the manner in which you approach things, because if you look at Brother Sammy's
Okay, she,
and then now Joy's blessing, do you think truly that God speaks to her?
yes, and then when God called her, I wasn't around. Pick him up. So I can't say I don't believe in everything that she's saying. But at the end of the day, Bible says, my entertaining way in the moon, a champion of swan. Aha, and you do a more me, Christopher Mommy, so, like I said, whatever she's saying, I can't doubt, I never doubt. If it's from God, that's from God. Whatever she said, yeah, I believe that. I'm just saying that she should have just communicated it well. Yeah, that's all.
Well, I'll move away from you, but before I go, let's do personal stuff. Did you have any cause to confront the minister who gave you your prophecy last year?
It turns out to be that he happens to be a brother.
A brother.
Mabusiano, Auntie Balbo. Yeah, my stepmom actually followed up, and then I had my dad's, I think, aunt, or I think one of my dad's sisters called me from UK, and it was like, "Who named say Abraham to name ba?" I said, on the toss with me,
Wow.
the man was only be on the toss with me, and I'm like, wow, sure. And
But was he apologetic? How did he react when he was approached?
I think I know about and yeah, I just left it because, like I said, you don't know who I am, how prayerful I am, and how spiritual I am. So with those things, when those things comes up, there are spirits out there that we want to hold it there to make sure that it comes to pass. So I had to just pray, and I bought every mission of the enemy, blah blah blah. And apart from that, yeah, I'm fine. Here am I, 2021.
Thank God for your life. Celestine.
Yes, ma'am.
We're starting with the issue of Cecilia Marfo and Joy's blessing. People think that Joyce needs support from industry people. She's gone through so much.
Yeah, she's gone through so much.
What do you think will happen in this case? Now that she's been openly prophesied to, you think?
You see everybody and their level of faith and their strength, the inner strength as to what they can take, what can break them, and what can, push them into depression. And these things are very unpleasant things to talk about. And we are not proud to be talking about these things. However, I always say that Cecilia Marfo, to be honest with you, I have experienced her ministry, and I know she carries some grace from God and some anointing. I have personally encountered some testimonies with her ministry, and so I don't doubt who she is. But the only thing that I would advise is that she should really apply wisdom when it comes to giving some strong prophetic words to people who come to the church. Not only in the case of Joyce, but to every human being. Because every individual and their level of faith and what they can take. For example, if you tell somebody a person is going to die, that alone is enough to kill the person in the next 2 days.
Yes.
Maybe that death could be true, could happen over a year or 10 years, but because of the fear, the panic, the thought of it alone, can kill the person faster. And so I advise that with said prophetic words, it should be communicated in private, so that and prayerfully, most importantly, prayerfully, because everybody going through things like divorce and stuff really needs prayer support and love, people who are there for her, people who assure her they are praying with her. That's what such a person needs. I'm a woman, and I feel the embarrassment and the pain, and so we respect the oil on Cecilia Marfo's life, but please, when it comes to some of such prophecies, it should be done in a lot of wisdom and prayer, so that it doesn't look like she is doing it to get attention for her ministry, because it's beginning to look like that. It happened in the case of Brother Zami, and then this time too. So, the attention is off that, and it's going on other direction. And I advise musicians too that there are certain things you can do and put in place to ensure that no prophecy about you comes publicly. And my manager and I, we do that. Before we are invited to a program, if it's a prophet,
Because sometimes they are the ones who are a bit careless. If it's a prophet, my husband communicates to them that if we come to your service and you think you have a prophetic word for Celestine, please make sure that you call her separately and tell her. If we come to your program and if you want to lay hands on Celestine, please, she has a lot of hands laid on her. She doesn't want any laying of hands. We communicate that, yes. Because you end up, musicians, we attend so many churches. And because of, we need to go and minister. You end up holding so many hands touching your head and pour all sort of unknown anointing on you. You know, so we make sure that we communicate this thing before we even come to minister. And there are some places where we go that the prophets think he's on your ga until he will go ahead and do it. My manager will walk to you on the stage.
Wow.
Yeah, and tell you that, please, we don't need this. If you have a word, let's do it in private. So I advise my colleagues that about you. So when you are also working, work prepared and organize your team to do some of this work so that these things don't happen. Because I think the management of Joyce Blessing has every right to stop that prophetic word from being declared public. And then we wouldn't have been facing all this.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So we, on our part, we can make sure it happens. On the part of these prophets too, we beg them that if they have any prophetic word, especially for people who work in the public eye, they should please do it in private to really, really help.
How are we going to help Joyce now? Now she's been humiliated. She's become the talk. Ohemaa says she speaks to her on a daily basis. Ohemaa, have you reached out to her already?
I think this morning I was trying to call her, but her phone was so busy. Probably in the evening I will call her.
I saw the post, the video on our way here. I saw it, and I mean, I called Joyce too, and I give her my courage and pray with her in my little way I can. But what we have said here is a way of throwing our support behind
It's
her.
enough.
Yeah. And I think the further things we'll do in private, we will also do.
This is the last one. It's going to you on Ohemaa. Yasimudi, our retro muhumpoa. They said the gospel musicians, yes, when anything happens to one person, the other person will go on social media and go and, do kasanchi, shade the other person and say, like you gospel musician, why da 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 da,
Hey, this one there is news thing.
Oh, seriously?
Honestly.
So when you hear that one person is going through marital challenge and that person doesn't go on social media, say, because I've Gifty even made a testimony. I think she said something like that when she was going through her divorce, her colleague musicians were mocking her and all of that.
My dear, yes sir, and me say obi besa, but enya de fufuro. There are people in this life who be a share say your money, almost celebration. You want to say, enye new, There's some people when you are going down, they are happy.